All right, so today's power was wire. This power was it was very fun to draw. Honestly, I was thinking it required I think a lot of like thinking about like how to plan it out and like how to actually go about drawing it. As well as I thought the actual posing was very interesting. As you can see here, I was thinking of like, do I want him in the background shooting out wire, or do I want like him to be the one that's kind of being more the one like tangling something like how do I want to frame it, right? And I think that the anatomy ended up coming out pretty good on this, especially considering how dynamic the pose was, right? Like I think that the pose it was definitely challenging, right? It definitely had some like challenging aspects of it, right? But I think that it still ends up looking very good. Like it still feels like it's getting the point across very well, which is of course what I want, right? I did end up having to change this leg, even though I don't think it looks horrible like that. I think it just looks better kind of coming back that way. I do kind of wish I had kind of shown more of a sliding, almost like kind of showing like that movement that he's experiencing. I think that would have been very like I think that would have been a very good change. But you win some, you lose most, right? I do really like this posing. It feels very dynamic, or like not the posing, but the framing of this because I like how it feels like it feels like very comic booky, right? And I know I say that in a lot of these videos, but like that is the end goal. I'm not trying to make like a Mona Lisa here. I'm not trying to make even like a cover, really. Most of these, I'm just trying to make like a very dynamic looking shot. Like I'm trying to make something that like you can tell what's going on without having necessarily context as to what the power is. Like you can kind of just look at it and like get what's going on, right? Like if I see a panel of like some dude, or like if I see a page of like some guy and he gets punched and then he goes like 18 bajillion stories, like 18 bajillion miles that way, right? And I see like all these big impacts and all this stuff, I can like instinct like it feels very easy to visually signify that like, oh, this guy's really strong, right? And I think trying to communicate that with all these different powers is kind of the point of this series. So I think this one did a very good job at kind of exemplifying what I want. But I think that also does come down to the fact that Wire is a relatively simple power. It obviously has some complexity, right? The way I would describe it is, you it's not just like he shoots out wires from his palms, right? He shoots out a wire, or he can create a wire from one thing to another thing, right? And then you can increase the tension in it, and you can increase this, right? So I think that obviously you can do like more of like a swinging kind of thing, right? You can swing around on buildings, right? So there's like a mobility aspect of it, right? And or you could like almost like slingshot yourself. Like I don't know if any of y'all have played Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the PS3 and maybe Xbox 360. I don't know exactly what it went on, but in that game, you can slingshot yourself very far, and even in the new Marvel Spider-Man 2, you can do it at certain points. And so I'm very much thinking of that as like an ability usage, right? But yeah, obviously, in terms of like more of an offensive thing, I'm thinking of a lot of. I would say it's a very like mid-ranged kind of thing. Like you're like while you're fighting somebody, you're just kind of keeping everything in mind and throwing out, like you know that there's like a trash can behind somebody, so you chuck wire and then like he would make the wire attached to the guy's back and then to the trash can, and then he would like decrease the length rapidly so that the trash can hits him in the back. Right? Like something like that. Like I'm thinking of that very like mid-ranged ability usage. Which I think would be, super I think that's a very fun way of going about doing stuff. Um, One thing that I kind of wish I didn't do for this drawing, because I've obviously been kind of glazing myself the past little bit here. I do kind of wish that I had made the ground a little more distinctive, and I do kind of wish that I didn't include the sun in the background. It's just I don't know. There's something about it that makes it look, I guess, just less something, right? There's just like a intangible thing about the way it looks, that I can't really get over out. I couldn't tell you why, but it's just something where it's like, eh. I also, even though I do like the posing, I feel like it does have a problem where his face. I wish I could have kind of I wish I could have drawn it a little better here. I don't think it's drawn poorly. I think it's the point across, but I think maybe if I like angled the head up a bit more, maybe made it a bit larger, I think it definitely could have. I think it definitely could have been better, right? Uh, Again, like I think while the posing is on point, I think some of the like actual anatomy is a little lackluster at points, and I think that in terms of how to improve this, that's definitely something I should keep in mind. Also, with a different order today. Normally, I do foreground first, so like, or I guess like the foreground layer. I know I was talking about this in the last video, but like the idea of this is the foreground layer, right? Like the thing that matters, or like this is the background layer, right? Even though it's technically not, even though there would be technically like a foreground, a midground, and then a background in this. If it was like more of a I guess more of like a traditional painting, or piece of art, right? Like if I actually have to like give a shit about painting over stuff, like I had to do it in one layer, right? Um, but yeah, so I ended up going with like this kind of background, like the ground and the sky first and foremost, which again I think it turned out pretty okay. I generally like the way I do the coloring here. It's not super detailed, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I do kind of wish I had would made the cracks a little more distinctive. I think that definitely could have helped make this look a little prettier. But you win some, you lose most, right? Um, but yeah, no. Again, this was. I do think there are definitely some flaws with this. And I don't think it's my bestest work ever. I think it looks good enough, right? It gets the point across, and I guess that is the point at the end of the day, right? To kind of translate what I want in my brain to the page, right? But yeah, so thank y'all for watching. This one was super fun to draw. Obviously they all are, but I also didn't have anything going on today, so it was really fun to lock in and do this. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all all in 2 days or so. Bye.